Alright, what is up, guys? Waiting on the PV ones here to get loaded in. Hey, overcooked. Looks like we got 5 out of the 6 loaded in so far.
I'm getting an error saying extension acebreakline.dll not installed. Do you know any fix for that?
Try reinstalling or verifying your files.
Okay.
Is
I
there
would
a limit to
routine
how
mod
many
list,
people
remove
can
Ace from the
join an
mod list,
op?
re-add it back in.
Got it, Sergeant.
You mean as in the task forces? Once the task force is full, then that's everybody, which is right about 60 people. Hey, Jake. Well, it's first come, first serve if you're not billeted in that task force. It's only fill-ins that would be turned away. Yeah, if we could get the entire company in a goddamn server, that'd be great. OSUT is one station unit training, basically phase 2 of training. It's a mixture of basic combat training and advanced individual training. What up, AA Ron? Alright, so we're just waiting on one at this point. Hey, Cope. I didn't mean equipment room. Nice. Well, it'll be a while before we get over there. Yeah, I have no idea, Cope. Yeah, Express, I don't know why it does that sometimes. Like, sometimes Twitch will be completely smooth and YouTube is the one that fucking loads all the time and then vice versa. Oh, okay, right on, Jake. Oh, well, shit, we could have the ultimate Brain Weenie simulator now. I could just have these guys fucking stand here for 3 hours and not do anything.
I think I'm gonna have to reinstall Ace because it's giving me a different error this time.
Just uninstall it and reinstall it.
Alright.
Yeah, make sure you delete the files, otherwise it will add more files to your file, and it'll fuck up even more.
Don't try to replace it.
Hey,
Just delete the file
Stukas.
and then
Yeah, I've
install
been
it again.
streaming OSUT for a while. I mean, I haven't for a few weeks now because we've had like small classes, so it's been pointless. But yeah, I've been streaming OSUT for a while. Shit, I wouldn't be able to stand here for hours. I'd fucking walk off and go do something. Yeah, I don't miss any days. Shit, Stukas, you haven't seen our new setup here. Well, I'll give you a tour here in just a second. All right, gentlemen, it is now 13 past the hour. Private Kilborn, you have exactly 7 minutes to unfuck your mods. If they are not unfucked by that time, you will be recycled. Do you understand this?
Yes.
It's yes for Sergeant. All right, you
Yes,
got
First
7
Sergeant.
minutes. All right. So, I guess for anyone else that hasn't seen it, got our load-in area for the recruits and trainees. Here is the CMS classroom for Combat Medical School. Hey, Assault. And then we have our recruit training classroom here. Hey, Joe. With all our fancy screens and so on. And over here we have our OSUT classroom. And we have the three separate classrooms so that we can have classes all at the same time and guys aren't fighting over the classroom and shit. We then have our gear room for the trainees to grab their loadouts and stuff, and then we have a restricted room in here with full arsenals for the instructors to grab their stuff. Then we have the different offices and my spot. And look, I even got 3 monitors and Arma. And let me see, I'm a little lost here. There we go. This is kind of the load-in area for if you're doing like normal training on here, not doing OSUT. Guys will load into here. Here's our air assault tower, so that guys can rappel out of the back of the Chinooks. And then we have the 4 different days, but we only load 1 day at a time. At, so we'll go out here to day 1. And this is our range complex. So we have our weapons demonstration range, grenade range, dynamic range for vehicles and AT. We'll come over here and go to one of the screens and it'll load in a bunch of vehicles sitting out here in the salt flats. We then have our dynamic rifle range where targets pop up and they get closer and closer, and then they get up to here, and then they start moving farther away. Then we have our basic rifle range, and then we have our formations demonstration. So yeah, that's pretty much it for day 1. I'd show the other stuff, but yeah, that would require loading the other days, which shuts down the initial days you have loaded, so we're not going to do that. So yeah, a lot of work went into building this place. Lieutenant Lewis built all of this over the last few months. Yeah, exactly. This is the only thing we ever build that doesn't get fucking destroyed at some point or another.
Alright, well, I'm still getting the error, so I don't know how to fix that, so
Hey, Buttman.
I guess I'll just
Yeah, we do love our COPs.
log off then.
Did you delete your other files before you reinstalled?
Yeah, I deleted all of my ACE files, and then I
Hey, right on, Cope.
completely reinstalled it, and it's still having that problem, so.
Try verifying them through Steam.
Alright.
Can't get done within the next couple minutes, you're gonna have to recycle.
I doubt I'll be able to complete it within the next couple minutes.
Oh yeah, this all takes
Because it takes
magazines.
a couple minutes just to load armor for me, so. If you want, I can leave, and then you guys can start the training.
Yep, go ahead and recycle.
Hopefully you don't have this problem next week, man.
Yep, that's what I'm hoping. See you guys.
Later, buddy.
Alright, let's get this fucking class started. Alright, we're gonna get this class going. First and foremost, I am First Sergeant Brewer. You can address me as First Sergeant Brewer or simply First Sergeant. Nothing more, nothing less. That being said, I tell all of you right now, if you are on voice activation and you cannot control your background noise, your sniffles, and or your fucking coughs, either mute your microphone until you need to speak or use push to talk. It is that simple. If I hear you fumble fucking around with your microphone, I will remove you from this channel. Is that understood?
Yes, for Sergeant. Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Alright. Now, before we get this going, I'm going to give you guys kind of a rundown on what it is we do here and what you can expect over the next few days of OSUT. Now, OSUT, or One Station Unit Training, is a basic blend of BCT, or Basic Combat Training, and AIT, Advanced Individual Training. For the next 4 days, we are going to provide you the individual skills to become an infantryman within this unit, since we are infantry focused. If you desire another MOS, you will receive further training beyond this, but everyone first and foremost comes into this unit as an infantryman. Now, over the 4 days, each day you are going to learn new skills that will build upon what you learned the day before, all leading up to your day 4 FTX, or field training exercise, where you guys will go out and complete an actual mission. After you complete that mission, you will then take an oral quiz based upon the knowledge that has been given to you over the previous 3 days. That quiz is a go, no-go exercise, meaning if you fail it, you will be recycled back to day 1 of OSUT. Does everybody understand this?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Alright. Now, you are allowed to use notes on your quiz, meaning I highly recommend you get a pad of paper and a pen and or pencil handy. Start taking notes immediately. Now, today, what we're going to be covering, first and foremost, is communication. How to set up your radios, how to speak on them, the type of verbiage to use, so on and so forth. After we cover radios, we will then go over basic weapons familiarization, both in lecture form and hands-on. Alright, we will be spending quite a bit of time in the classroom today. Then we'll be heading out to the weapons range for hands-on with the weapons. And then we will be going over some of the basic formations that we use here. Now, if at any point in time, any one of you have a question, we'll simply type a Q in chat as you see demonstrated there. If you do not know how to get to the blue side chat, you will use either the comma or the period key to change your different chat channels until you see the blue one. At any point in time, I ask a question that is not a class-wide question, and you would like to comment on it or answer said question, we'll type a C in chat as you see there. Does everybody understand this?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Alright, I thought something sounded fucking off. Booker, disconnect from the server and reconnect. For some reason your TeamSpeak is not, or your TFAR is not connected. Just simply disconnect and reconnect real quick.
You will not laugh. You will not cry. You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you.
Alright, that still didn't do it. Let's try disconnecting from the game server and reconnecting. Private Paul.
Sorry, you might just have to enable his add-on for T4.
Already is enabled, otherwise it would say TFAR plugin disabled. Alright, before we go on, I will very quickly give you guys kind of a rundown as far as what it is I do here, my personal history with this unit, so you guys understand kind of where I'm coming from here. All right. Now, I've been with the 506th for over 2 years now. My primary billet within this unit is First Sergeant, all right, which means I am responsible for all of the enlisted men within this unit, including the guys in reserves, so that's a couple hundred people. My secondary billet is that of S3 Chief, meaning I oversee all training here, whether it be recruit training, OSUT, Combat Medical School, Air Assault School. I oversee all of it. So at some point in time, pretty much everyone has me as an instructor at some point. Being said, I take my job very seriously. My name is not Willy Wonka. I do not sugarcoat shit. I am not here to hold your hand. I am not here to coddle fuck you. I am here to ensure that you are properly fucking trained, so that in the future, when you get to your final billet, if you fuck up, it is my fault. If you are not properly trained and you go in and get an entire team killed, that is my fault. So I will be very hard on you, especially over the days 2, 3, and 4. Right? Anytime that myself or any one of my instructors points out a mistake that you have made, do not take it personally. I do not give a shit about your personal feelings. We are here to point out your mistakes so that we can fix them. And we are not here to be best friends. You fuck up, listen to what we tell you, fix it, and move on. Right? Do not get all fucking butthurt about it. Does everybody understand me?
Yes, Mr. Sergeant.
Yes, Mr. Sergeant.
I do not know why in the hell Booker's TFAR will not connect, but for now we will carry on. Alright. Sergeant O'Leary and Sergeant Myers. Grab Private Booker, take him down to classroom 2, and get that unfucked with a quickness.
Copy that for Sergeant.
Alright. We are going to take a quick minute to get Booker's TFAR unfucked here so that we can actually properly move on to the communication section. So, at this point in time, if any one of you have a question about anything that I have told you thus far, now is the time to ask it. And yes, there is no such thing as a stupid fucking question. I would much rather have you ask and feel like an idiot than fucking go down the road and screw something up because you did not ask a question. Yeah, Cope, you got lucky. I was fucking sick all the way through your OSUT. Plus, it was only you, so it's kind of hard to fuck up when it's only one person. No, not impossible, but difficult. All right, instead of wasting more time, you guys are going to follow me into the classroom, and we will stand by in there. And you guys are going to follow me in a file. File is a vertical line, which means you're going to be nut to butt following me. Does everybody understand this?
Yes,
Yes,
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
All right, follow me. Have access to my mouse? Yeah, that's how I'm around. Hey, look, it's AA run. All right, you're going to step inside the classroom. Once you step inside the classroom, you're going to remove your cover. Once you have removed your cover, you're going to look to your left, grab a radio, and then go to one of the tables and sit down in a chair. Move. Don't tell him that. He looks like an asshole. And ignore the fucking Dalai Lama floating in place bug. Yeah, they actually properly go through that shit in fucking training. Hey, Lumen. Cope, it's a bug with the template itself, and we haven't updated the template yet. I guess I should probably program my damn radio. Alright, these fuckers need to hurry up and get this guy's T-fire taken care of. Dinner plans? You're gonna desert me for your family? How dare you? Yeah, I know, Kyle. Fucking squad looks great. Like I haven't actually played it myself because I don't want to waste the money on it. But like just the play style of it and the visuals and everything, and the not so much mechanics, but the engine of it are really good. Oh yeah, I have to be there tonight. I'm task force commander. BTR 80 Alpha is Nightmare Fuel. Yeah. So I think they have
Jesus. What is that?
Cope, brother.
What the fuck is that?
Thank you very,
What
very
is that,
much
Private
for
Pile?
that fucking 50 bomb, bro. Holy fuck. AA Ron has his work cut out for him, sticking in #1. Thank you. Which, speaking of Cope, are you going to be able to fill in tonight, or are you working tonight? Um, can't steady your weapons on walls? Oh, that seems like something I'd have in there. But they're up to, I think I seen a video where you can do like a 100 against 100 or some shit. Oh, sweet, you will be there tonight? Nice. If you haven't already, Cope, like if you're not at work right now, I recommend getting with one of the squad leaders from Havoc 3 and getting yourself a fill-in spot now. Like always try to get your fill-in spot ahead of time, uh, so that if the task force fills up, you don't get turned away. Yeah, that would be my problem is going in there with a bunch of fucking randos that are just retarded. No, I don't think we'll have an A10 flying tonight, but tomorrow we will. Tomorrow is Soto's normal night to fly, and I'll be Zeusing tomorrow.
Holy Jesus. What
God
is that?
damn it, you mother...
What the fuck is that? What is that, Private Pile?
AA Round just gave you a gigantic middle finger. Thank you, dickhead. I don't know what the hell I'd do without you dumbasses. I wouldn't mind doing squad if like we were able to get a big enough group together. Um, like to get a full platoon, to be able to go in there, like full 40 guys to go in there. Like I think it could be really fun. Um, but just being able to organize that, outside of the shit that we normally do, be pretty fucking rough. Yeah, pretty rough. I'm actually surprised they don't have PvE. Like that's something I could see them adding at some point. Praise OSUT is one station unit training. It's a mixture of basic combat training and advanced individual training. So basically, this is where we actually teach them how to talk on the radio, the tactics that we use, and stuff like that. Jake, on YouTube, it's down in the description. If you click the read more thing, there's a link there. Well, Kyle, if you download the suppression mod that we actually have whitelisted on our servers, but I don't use it because it's a little excessive. It definitely scares the shit out of you when you get shot at. Like you have a BTR shooting at you, it shakes your entire fucking screen and flashes stuff white, and like it's genuinely fucking scary. Yeah, they kind of like they have the crack, but it's not right. Like it doesn't sound right. Yeah, I seen you. Did you stream the other day, AA Run, or did you just record that? 'Cause I seen that you put up a video. Watching in 360p? Shit, I'm sorry, Ty. Oh yeah, duh, I forgot your fucking internet sucks balls. Yeah, exactly. Like the crack just gets louder, and there's you can somewhat tell the distance, um, based upon the crack in the report of the rifle, but it's not very good. All right, gentlemen, we got about 3 mics here, so if you gotta take a piss, fucking grab something to drink, grab a smoke, go rub one out, whatever the fuck it is, get it done, and we'll get going here very shortly. Takes like 7 hours to upload video. Yeah, that's when you just fucking set it to upload and go to bed. That's what I used to do when I would actually like edit my videos, is I would just set it to render overnight when I went to sleep, and I'd turn around and upload it the next morning when I get up. Luckily, it doesn't take very long at all to upload, but it takes fucking long ass time to render like an hour-long video. Go. I don't know if I should say thank you or please don't. Yeah, I was gonna say, hey, Ron, his dick hasn't left his hand since I went live. Oh, you're like getting throttled? That fucking sucks. I hate that shit. No, you love it? Eh, a little bit. Well, I'm gonna take this time to take a quick piss then while this guy is loading in, so I will be right back.
You're so ugly you could be a modern art masterpiece.
I am back. And Jake, thank you for the 644, brother. I greatly fucking appreciate it. Alright, looks like he is connecting again. Get supply officer at the right color ACUs. I didn't even know the supply officer was in ACUs, not that I really fucking paid attention to him. Which he shouldn't be in ACUs since he's not Air Force. Cope, you'll have to do it in TeamSpeak. You guys have to hop in and message one of the squad leaders. Oh, Jake, don't fucking ever apologize. Like, you guys, believe me, every penny that you guys donate fucking helps. Yeah, that'd be all I need. That'd be something that fucking AA Ron would do. He'd fucking mail it to me. We got 6 people in this class, Ty. We got the last one getting ready to come in now. Yeah, Battle Eye always fucks people trying to get on our server. That's why they're told to disable it. You don't have my address yet. Yeah, exactly. It causes issues with the DLL files. We haven't used Battle Eye in fuck since I can remember. All right, gentlemen, we're gonna finally get this fucking going here. We've wasted enough goddamn time as it is. So to get into the first part here, dealing with communication. Communication is probably the most important weapon that we have. Our rifles and shit are important, but without communication, we can't do what it is that we do. Now, the first part of that we're going to go over is the phonetic alphabet and phonetic numerals. All right, now the NATO phonetic alphabet, pretty damn easy. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, so on and so forth. If you are not very familiar with the phonetic alphabet, it is in your student reference document. I suggest that you study it if you do not know it by heart. Secondly, phonetic numerals. All right, phonetic numerals are pretty much identical to your normal everyday numbers with 3 exceptions. All right, that is the numbers 3, 5, and 9. All right, 3 pronounced phonetically is tree, like the thing with leaves on it. 5 phonetically is fife, F-I-F-E. And 9 phonetically is niner. All right, everybody knows niner. Now, phonetic numerals are not used all the time. All right, phonetic numerals are used when, say, someone has a hard time hearing you. They may not clearly understand the number that you are stating. That is when phonetics come into play. All right. Now, next thing we're going to go over is some of the different pro words that we use. All right. Pro words are procedure words or phrases. They're essentially very short phrases that allow us to pass along large amounts of information without actually saying a lot. All right. It helps us towards brevity. Brevity being as short as possible on the radio. Right. You have to keep in mind that at any point in time, you could have anywhere from 3 to 6 other people that need to talk on the same radio frequency that you're speaking on. So brevity is something that we take pretty seriously. So try to pass along only the pertinent information as quickly as we possibly can, and then get off of the radio in case someone else needs to speak on it. All right, so first pro word we're going to be going over is break. Right? Break simply means I hereby indicate the separation of the text from the other portions of the message. To put that in layman's terms, think of it as a period in a sentence. Okay? It is a chance for you to stop or to break, take a breath, and carry on with your message. So if you were to have a long message to send, you would start sending your message, break, let go of the transmit key on the radio, take a breath, and then carry on. Sergeant Myers, if you would, go collect Private Booker at the load-in area. All right, we will stand by for a hot second for Private Booker to get here. Trump added you on Facebook? Booker didn't add me on Facebook. Oh yeah, I don't have one. All right, do any of you have any questions on the shit we have covered thus far?
Negative for Sergeant.
Negative for Sergeant.
All right. Private Booker, before you sit down, step over there to the table, grab yourself a radio, and remove the cover from your head. If you don't know how to stand up, use your scroll wheel. Table over at the entrance, the one that you walked by that had a big stack of radios on it. Sergeant O'Leary, once he sits down, go over there and work your black magic and drop his ass actually into the seat. All right, now continuing on from the last pro word of break, we go on to correction. Right, correction simply means an error has been made in this transmission. The transmission will continue with the last word correctly transmitted. All right, so this is a way that if you are in the middle of a message and you realize you fucked something up, you said the wrong word, wrong grid coordinate, something along those lines, you would simply say correction, go back to where you were last correct, and carry on with your message. All right, don't fumble fuck around with the radio saying so on. Remember brevity. All right, so just say correction, go back to where you were last correct, and carry on with your message. Now the next one, I read back. All right, read back can be used as a command or as a response. So firstly, in the setting of a command, saying read back. So if I as higher were to give a grid coordinate for one of my subordinates, and for example, if I gave the grid coordinate of 160168 at the end of my message, if I said read back, that lets that receiving station know I want them to read back the transmission that I just gave to them. All right, so I want them to say back to me everything I just said to them. So then the receiving station, as a response, would say, I read back grid 160168. All right, very simple. Next one is say again. Much like read back, say again can be used as a command or as a response. Okay? So as a command, if I am receiving a message from someone and they break up, or the end of their transmission gets cut off, or I'm in the middle of a firefight and I didn't hear them, I can then reply to them on the radio, say again all before, say again all after, or simply say again, and they'll say again their entire transmission. Right? Now, as a receiving station, if I receive the command of say again, I would then respond back, I say again, and then go on with my message. Next one is over. Over simply means this is the end of my transmission to you and a response is necessary. Go ahead and transmit. Okay, so anytime we are speaking on the radio, if you need a response, you are going to say over. Now the flip side of that is the pro word of out. Out means this is the end of my transmission to you and a response is not necessary or expected. Right? Essentially means this conversation is over. We're done, if you will. Right? So understand that over means something completely different from out. Right? Over means I need a response from you. Out means I do not need a response from you. So for this reason, do not ever say over and out on the radio. Right? That is made up Hollywood bullshit. No one says that. You look like a fucking idiot. Don't do it. Now, in addition, when you say out on the radio, it is the initiating calling station that outs a radio transmission. Right? What that means is, if they call you on the radio, they out you. They are the one that started the call. Think of saying out on the radio as a way of hanging up the phone. Okay? You do not hang up on someone that calls you. They hang up first. So you just continue to say over at the end of your messages until they say out. Once they say out, that's it. Done. You do not need to contact them for that same radio message. Now the next one is read back. Read back means to repeat the entire transmission back to me exactly as received. All right. Or sorry, already went over read back. Say again is the next one. Say again is to repeat all of your last transmission. All right. Now, we use say again instead of the word repeat for a very simple reason. Repeat is used for fire missions and CAS missions. Right? So that is only used by our JTACs and members of our TACP, our Tactical Air Control Party. Right? So we do not use the word repeat as basic infantry. Right? You will find that majority of the guys here do not even use it in normal everyday conversation anymore because it is beat into your heads from this point on to never say that word. Right? So anytime you need someone to repeat everything that they just said, you will use the pro word say, or pro words say again. Right, is everybody tracking so far?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right. All right. Now the next part is very important. The next procedure phrase is very important. that procedure phrase is "this is." Right? This is means this transmission is from the station whose designation immediately follows. Okay? What that means is every single person in the field has their own calling station. Right? For a basic fire team member, it is their name. For a fire team leader and above, they have their own individual calling station. Now understand that a calling station and a call sign are two very different things. Right? A call sign for us would be that of Havoc. The entire infantry company has a call sign of Havoc. The entire fixed wing section has a call sign of Thunder. All right. A calling station is an individual person. So my calling station is Havoc 7. I am the only Havoc 7 in the entire unit. If anyone says Havoc 7 on the radio, I am the only person they can be talking to. Sergeant Myers, what is your calling station?
Havoc 2-1, First Sergeant.
Sergeant Myers is Havoc 2-1. So if he hears Havoc 2-1, or abbreviated to 2-1 on the radio, he is the only person that someone could be speaking to. That is where "this is" comes into play. Every single radio transmission that you begin will consist of a phrase that you spit out there first. Right? This phrase I want you guys to memorize. That is, "Hey you, this is me." "Hey you, this is me." Now you are not going to literally come over the radio and say, "Hey you, this is me." Right? This is just a simplified way for you to remember. "Hey you, this is me." Right? The "hey you" is their calling station. Right? So if I was calling Sergeant Myers, I would say Havoc 2-1. Now everybody listening to that radio frequency immediately knows I am calling Sergeant Myers. Then I would say, "This is me." What is my calling station? Havoc 7. So I would say Havoc 2-1, this is Havoc 7. So now Sergeant Myers knows that I am calling him on the radio. No one else needs to answer that call. He is the only person that should be answering it. Now once I state who I am, so when I say Havoc 2-1, this is Havoc 7, over. And then I wait. Right? We work on a call and response system. So what that means is you call someone, you wait for them to respond. You do not just immediately send your message. For all you know, they're in the middle of the worst firefight that they have ever been in. They do not have time to speak to you on the radio, and they sure as shit aren't going to receive any information that you send their way. So, "Hey you, this is me, over," and wait for them to respond. They will respond with something along the lines of "send it," "send traffic," something like that, and then you can send your message. Right? Again, "Hey you, this is me, over, wait." Right? Now that is how to format a basic radio transmission. Every single time you do it, follow that procedure. Now the next one is radio check. Radio checks are incredibly important. Not only A, does it allow us to ensure that we have communication with each member in the field, B, it is a way for us to know that everyone is properly geared and ready to go, right? Radio checks are the last thing that we do before we essentially step off, right? Now, in order to do a radio check, every single time we load into a server, first thing you're going to do is grab your gear, and then depending upon the situation, whether we're in the field or we're in a training cycle, you're either going to set up in defensive positions or you're going to get lined up in formation somewhere, and then you'll start doing your PCCs, pre-combat checks. Pre-combat checks consist of making sure you have all of your gear, you got your ear pro in, your buddy teams are figured out, second in command is figured out, so on and so forth, and then you'll start going through and do your radio checks. Now, doing your radio checks, first and foremost, you'll program your radios, which is something we'll go over here in a moment, and then you will actually key up that radio and begin your radio check. Now, in order to do this, key up your radio, you'll say, this is whatever your name and or calling station is. And again, remember, if you're just a fire team member, your calling station is your name. So you'll say, this is so-and-so radio check frequency, whatever the frequency you're currently speaking on, over. All right? That is it. No more, no less. This is so-and-so radio check frequency 123 over. After you say over, someone else on that frequency and or net, as you may hear it called, will then respond to you. They will respond with your strength and readability. So they will either say something along the lines of Lima Charlie, which stands for LC, or loud and clear, or they will simply say loud and clear, or they will use the numerical system of 1 by 5 to 5 by 5. All right, 5 by 5 meaning loud and clear, 1 by 5 being broken and unreadable. Right? So they will respond with, read you Lima Charlie, frequency 123 over. Right, so they say back the frequency to the person doing the radio check. So, read you Lima Charlie, frequency 123 over, because they did not initiate the call, so they say over. So then you respond back to them, solid copy, Lima Charlie, something along those lines, out. All right. So very quickly to run over it again. This is so-and-so radio check, frequency 123 over. Read you Lima Charlie, frequency 123 over. Solid copy, out. Right? You can do a radio check in a matter of seconds. Everybody tracking so far?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right. So what we're going to do now, and actually before I move on, very quickly, the procedure phrase of radio check, right? That is asking the strength and readability of your transmission. So do not say how copy at the end of your radio check. It is redundant, right? It does not work in the favor of brevity. You do not need to say how copy every time you do a fucking radio check. It is annoying. Don't do it. Now, what we're going to do is go through how to program your radios. So I want all of you to hold left control on your keyboard and press P as in Papa. You should open up the big green BRNC 152 radio. Everybody see their radio on their screen?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right, we're going to go over what everything on this radio does. So starting at the top, that middle stalk, that is your volume control. All right, left click it decreases volume, right click it increases volume. I generally leave mine right at default 80. All right, it's loud enough to hear over firefights, but not so loud that it's raping your fucking eardrums. Moving down from there, the central display, the light green rectangle. That displays two pieces of information. First, your channel. Second, your frequency. Understand that a channel and a frequency are two different things. All right, so it'll say C1 in a random series of numbers. And C1 stands for channel 1. That random series of numbers is the current frequency that that channel is tuned to. Continuing to move on from there. At the top right of those sets of buttons, it says CLR. That is to clear the frequency. If you click that, it will clear out the random series of numbers. Directly beneath that is the ENT button or the enter button. That is how you will set a frequency. So if you clear out that random series of numbers with the CLR button, you will then type in whatever frequency you are going to be on, and then click that ENT button and it will set the frequency. Directly beneath that, you have the PRE button. You have plus and minus. This is how you will change your radio channels. Okay. Click the plus, goes up a channel. Click the minus, goes down a channel. Alternatively, you can use the keypad on your keyboard to change channels quickly. Now, directly to the left of that is that right-facing arrow. Do not ever click that right-facing arrow. That will set your short-range radio to speakers. Do not ever set your short-range radio to fucking speakers. Anybody that speaks to you on that radio frequency be transmitted to everyone within probably 20 yards of you. B, It generally causes a fuck ton of feedback, and those of us wearing headsets are going to want to rip your fucking head off. So don't do it. Have I made myself clear as to not setting your short-range radio to speakers?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right. Next, we have the left-facing arrow. Left-facing arrow is how you will set an additional channel. This is absolutely needed for anyone in a leadership position. All of us in leadership positions monitor and talk on multiple radio frequencies at one time. All right. And we will show you guys how to do this. Lastly, in the bottom left corner, that 0 button, that is your stereo settings button. That is how you can make it so that a channel is heard through only one ear. This, again, incredibly important for anyone in a leadership position because we do listen to multiple frequencies at the same time. All right, everybody tracking so far?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right, what we're going to do now is have you guys actually program in a couple of radio frequencies. So up at that light green display, hit that CLR button. That should make that random series of numbers disappear. Now inside that light green box, you guys are going to type in 100.1. Once you have typed in 100.1, then click that ENT button. Now get in the habit now of calling out individual numerals. Right? Do not call it out as 100.1. Right? There is too much room there for something to be misheard, misinterpreted, so on. That is why the super cool sounding military guys always call out individual numerals, right? It's not because they want to sound cool. It's because they don't want dumbass to misunderstand them, right? So 100.1. Once you have that frequency set, down in the very bottom left, that stereo settings button, you're going to click that once. The bottom of your screen or top, wherever the hell it pops up, you should see it pop up, say left ear only. Right, this now lets you know that this channel is only going to be heard in your left ear. And once you click that button, you are then going to go over to the PRE button and click the plus to go to channel 2 or C2. So it'll say C2 and a random series of numbers. Again, you're going to hit that CLR button, clear it out. You're then going to type in 100. Once you have typed in 100, you're going to click ENT and set that frequency. Now you're going to go to that left facing arrow, set additional channel. Click that once. That will change it from C2 to A2. So it'll go from Charlie 2 to Alpha 2. This lets you know that that is an additional channel now. Once you have done that, you'll then go to that stereo settings button again in the very bottom left corner. Click that twice so that this channel is only heard in your right ear. Now once you have done all of this, you now have channel 1 set as frequency 100.1. You have channel 2, your additional channel, set as frequency 100. Now this does not work unless you set your radio back to channel 1, back to C1. If you leave it on A2, you will only hear A2 frequency. You have to be on channel 1 in order to hear both channel 1 frequency and alternative or additional channel 2 frequency. So everybody hit the PRE minus and go back to C1. All right, everybody back on C1 now.
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
Right now, all of you should hear me speaking to you in your left ear, correct?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
Now all of you should hear me speaking to you in your right ear, correct?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right, there you go. Congratulations. You guys now know how to properly set up your radios to listen to 2 radio frequencies at the same time. Now, there are times where you'll possibly see some of us listening to 3, 4, 5 different frequencies at any one time. That is not something that we will go over here, right? That is not needed basically ever. At no point does someone really need to listen to that many channels. I will sometimes when I am teaching OSUT, but even my role as a task force commander leading the entire task force, I still only need to listen to 2 channels at any given time. All right. Now, at this point, does anybody have any questions?
Negative for Sergeant.
Negative for Sergeant.
All right, excellent. So what we're going to do now is go over some basic weapons familiarization, all right? And as I told you before, first we're going to go over the lecture portion, and then we will take you guys out to the range to give you some actual hands-on, all right? Now, this is not going to necessarily cover every single weapon system that we have here. It is going to cover the bulk of them. Some of the stuff we don't cover, you'll get further training on later. Right, so the first one we're going to be covering, probably the most important because it is standard issue for all of us with exception to pilots. And that is, well, pilots, machine gunners, and automatic riflemen. That is the M4 carbine. All right, the M4 is a lightweight gas-operated, air-cooled, magazine-fed shoulder fire weapon that can be fired in either the automatic or semi-automatic mode. It has a effective point target range of 500 meters and an effective area target range of 600 meters. Anybody have a guess as to the difference between a point target and area target? And now that I'm done rambling, holy fuck, Cope, thank you, brother. I
What was the
cannot
question,
fucking
Sergeant?
thank you enough. Say again?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Next time you use that word and you are not calling in a fire mission, I'm going to drop a mortar directly on your nutsack. Is that understood?
Understood.
Now, can anybody tell me the difference between a point target and an area target? Private Oliver.
I will take a wild guess for Sergeant. I would say a point target is a target that you're gonna be in the same altitude as, which means gonna be a range of 500 meters. An altitude target meaning that you're over in altitude this target, meaning a range of 600 meters.
No. Anybody else got a guess? Booker, send it.
Would point target be you could accurately hit your target with single shot, and area target B you could hit your target with automatic fire.
You were almost on target there, but no. All right. Very simply, point target means you can engage an individual point or a single individual or a MAM, military age male, any motherfucker from 15 to 50. Right. Area target means that you can engage that area around them or that you can suppress them. Right. So anything inside of 500 meters, you can accurately engage and drop that target. Outside of 500 meters, you are now engaging that area or you are suppressing them. Now, this does not mean that you can't kill a target beyond 500 meters, right? NATO 5.56 round is lethal well beyond 500 fucking meters, right? Simply means you are not going to be accurate on a single individual target, all right? Any questions on that?
Negative for Sergeant.
Negative for Sergeant.
Negative for Sergeant.
All right. Next, we are going to move on to the M320 grenade launcher, right? The M320 or the 203 that I am carrying myself are both UGLs, underslung grenade launchers. Now, the 320 can be detached and used individually. However, we don't do that here. Now, in actuality, the 203 and the 320 are different grenade launchers. They do not use the exact same round. In actuality, the 320 uses the exact same round that the Mark 19 does. The 203 does not. They are different 40 mics. Or 40 millimeters. Oftentimes, you'll hear guys refer to a 40 millimeter as a 40 mic. That's what they're talking about. Now, the 320 is a lightweight, reach-loading 40 millimeter grenade launcher that can engage targets at 350 meters and closer. Right now, this does not mean that you can't engage targets beyond 350 meters. I have engaged targets at 500 meters with a 320. It only ranges to 350 though. So to fire beyond that, A, you need skill and practice. B, you need to throw some Kentucky windage on it. If you don't know what Kentucky windage on it is, simply means aim high. Right? Now, both the 320 and the 203 for us in game use the exact same ammunition. Now, they are capable of firing multiple different munition types. First and foremost, there's HE, which is used the most. HE, or high explosive, is used for infantry targets, foot mobiles, right? HEDP, high explosive dual purpose, is used for entrenched enemies, bunkers, OP towers, stuff like that, as well as vehicles, right? While it may not necessarily destroy the vehicle, even though a lot of vehicles it will, it can shred the tires on a vehicle. So if you're up against a wheeled APC, such as a BTR, you can hit it with HEDP rounds and take out the tires and at least immobilize it so it cannot move. Now, the 320 or the 203 is carried by grenadiers in the unit, as well as some squad leaders, platoon HQ, and above. In addition to the normal rounds that everybody carries, the HE and HEDP, there's a few more. Smoke rounds can be carried. However, 40 millimeter smoke rounds, they take a lot of practice to be proficient with for one simple reason. When you fire one, it's a good chance wherever it lands, it's going to bounce another couple hundred meters beyond where it actually lands. So it takes quite a bit of practice to understand where you can fire it, where it's going to bounce to, so on and so forth. Now, in addition to smoke rounds, there's also illumination rounds. You may think illumination rounds are kind of fucking stupid considering all of us have NVGs. Well, when the fog is super fucking thick, I can tell you now, NVGs don't do dick. Illumination is your best friend. Lastly, there's Hunt IR rounds. Hunt IR rounds are essentially a camera at the nose of a 40 millimeter grenade, and it's got a parachute that comes out of the ass of it. Now, Hunt IR rounds are only carried by platoon HQ and above. So when you hear someone say Hunt IR out, what they're saying is they're firing a 40 millimeter Hunt IR camera up into the air. They'll fire it up there, the parachute will deploy, they'll connect to it with their tablet and watch the camera and be able to spot targets and so on. Now, with that being said, if you see a little white parachute with something dangling underneath of it, do not freak out, all right? They are not enemy airborne troops. It is not the fucking aliens invading. It's a goddamn camera. Do not shoot at it. Does everybody understand this?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right. Now, moving on to the next weapon system. The M249 Squad Automatic Weapon, or SAW for short. SAW is carried by all automatic riflemen within the unit. Do not confuse a SAW gunner for an 11 Bravo machine gunner. They are two very different things. A SAW gunner is simply an 11 Bravo who happens to carry a SAW. They are not a machine gunner. Okay, we'll go over that more later. As for the SAW, it is a gas-operated, air-cooled, belt or magazine-fed automatic weapon that fires from the open bolt position. It has a maximum rate of fire of 850 rounds and has a maximum area target range of 1,200 meters. Now notice that I said belt or magazine-fed. The SAW is chambered in the exact same NATO 5.56 round as the M4. You can use M4 magazines in a SAW. However, the SAW does not have select fire capability, meaning it is full auto all the time. So, you put a 30 round M4 magazine in it, those 30 rounds are not going to last very long at all. So this is something done in extreme emergencies. Right? If you are completely out of belts, you can use a magazine from an M4 in your SAW. That being said, again, only if you are completely out of belts. Right now, the belts that we use for the SAW, you can either use 100 round belts or 200 round belts. Most guys use 200 round belts because, well, why not? It's not like real life where you're actually carrying around 100 pounds worth of 5.56. So, majority of the guys use 200 round belts. Now, this being said, every SAW gunner will usually carry about 600 rounds on them, 600 to 700 rounds. and then each member of his team will carry extra ammunition for him. So every saw gunner, when they step out into the field, generally has a minimum of 1,000 rounds between him and the other guys in his team. Now notice that with the saw, I said it only has an area target range. That is because the saw is a suppression weapon, right? That does not mean that you can't engage an individual target with it. It simply means that we fire a saw in burst because again, it is fully automatic only, right? So when you fire at a target with the saw, you fire generally in a 3 to 5 round burst depending upon the range to the target. You will rake that burst across the target's body, right? So generally, if they are, say, 200 meters out and you engage a single foot mobile, you are going to rake right up their body with the saw, right? So you start at their kneecap and you end at their forehead, right? For a very, very simple reason. Actually, I will ask you guys, anybody have a guess as to why you do not start at the head and rake down? Paul.
Because the recoil is too much for a fully automatic weapon. You try to get as many shots on target as possible. And
There
if
you
you
go.
need, you'll just shoot over them.
Weapon inherently is going to rise once you begin firing. If you try to instantly go for a headshot with something like a saw, all you're going to do is start shooting rounds over top of them. Right? Start at their kneecap, let the gun walk itself right up their body. Okay. Now, like I said, we fire the saw in bursts. At no point in time do you fire a single round or tap fire it or whatever stupid other shit you learned from CS:GO. Right? This is a casualty producing weapon. You put as much lead into a single target as you can until either A, they're combat ineffective, or B, they are fucking dead. It is that simple. Right, now moving on to the next weapon system. The M240 Bravo medium machine gun. 240 Bravo is carried by 11 Bravo machine gunners within weapon squads. All right, myself being a former weapon squad leader, my love affair for this weapon is no fucking secret. Now, the 240 Bravo is a belt-fed, air-cooled, gas-operated, fully automatic machine gun that fires from the open bolt position with a maximum area target range of 1,800 meters. It will reach the fuck out there and touch someone, hence why I affectionately call it the big black dick of freedom. Now, the guys that carry this, often referred to as pig gunners, because the 240 is a direct descendant of the M60, which was referred to as the pig. 240 gunners work in two-man teams. This is what is known as a crew-served weapon, even though it is not a traditional crew-served weapon in our case. We use two-man teams. You have the gunner and you have the assistant gunner, often referred to as the A gunner. All right. Now, the A gunner is not just a pack mule, despite what many people think. Yes, they do carry extra ammunition, but that A gunner has a lot of important responsibility. Pig gunner, where the guy carrying the gun himself is essentially just a trigger man. He puts rounds on target. The A gunner is the one who spots targets, ranges them, pre-ranges positions, controls rate of fire, so on and so forth. Walks rounds on targets, stuff like that. All right. Now, as I said, it isn't a traditional crew-served weapon, right? We do not use a tripod or anything like that for it. A single individual can operate this weapon without having that A gunner there, but it is nowhere near as effective, right? Now, as I said, this thing has an area target range of 1,800 meters. I have personally watched one of my former machine gunners engage and drop a single marksman at 1,600 meters. Right, so these things will fucking reach out there. It is the bigger, badder, meaner brother to the saw because this is not chambered in the 5.56 NATO round. The 240 is chambered in the 7.62 NATO round, so it packs a lot bigger punch. All right. Any questions at this point?
Negative, First Sergeant.
Outstanding. Stand by 1 moment. Yeah, Cope, the fucking 240s will lay waste to shit. That is why I love them. Sucks that we only get 100 round belts for them, but with those 100 rounds, you can cause a lot of fucking pain and hurt. All right, we'll let Myers here rate a few. So a bit of a break. Let's give weapons 50s with tripod. Yeah, I wish we could just get the tripods for the 240s. Yeah, unfortunately, Vertigo shit like that happen quite a bit. You might have to switch your MOS. Yeah, first time you fucking use one of those machine guns, it's like holy shit. Miss playing with Mark 19. Yeah, that's probably my favorite, hands down. Mark 19. There is nothing like that fucking thing. All right, we'll see you later, Assault. All right, gentlemen. At this time, I'm going to pass it over to Sergeant Myers to give myself a little bit of a fucking break. You give you guys a break from my goddamn voice. So, Sergeant Myers, go ahead whenever you are ready.
Under that first sergeant, the M13684 is a
All right,
lightweight
guys, I will be
self-contained
right
SLM
back. I am
designed
going
for
to
use
take a
against
quick
improved
piss.
armor and light armor targets such as BTRs and BMPs. It provides lethal fire against light armor vehicles and has some effects on mostly enemy field fortifications. While it has a maximum range of 2,100 meters, its maximum effective range is 300 meters. The M1 the M136 is assigned one per fire team. It's typically carried by the rifleman, maybe carried by the grenadier in tactical consideration. Procured the rifleman from properly employing it tends to be when your squad is either missing the rifleman or it makes more sense to not give it to him. The M3 Carl Gustav. The M3 Carl Gustav is also known as the multi-role anti-armor anti-tank weapon system, or as we call it, the MOS. It is 84mm recoilless rifle carried only by the weapon squad's anti-armor specialist. They are again, as First Sergeant mentioned, a two-man team. It is capable from employing a vast array of ammunition for use against armor targets, hardened fixed positions and personnel, as well as deploying smoke and illumination. Depending on the target and ammunition selected, it is capable of ranging out to 1,000 meters. Close combat missile system. TCMs are used primarily to defeat main battle tanks and other armoured combat vehicles. In the current force, this category of weapon includes the TOW and the Javelin. The TOW and Javelin provide overmatched anti-tank fires during the assault and provided extended range capable of engaging armour during both offence and defence. These systems have a moderate capability against bunkers, buildings, and other fortified targets commonly found during combat in urban areas. The TOW's bunker buster round is capable of destroying the majority of urban targets. The FGM-148 Javelin. Javelin is a fire and forget shoulder-fired man-portable CCMS that consists of a reusable M98A1 command launch unit, also known as a CLU. The Javelin
Yeah, I
CCM's
feel you
primary
there,
role
Lumen. I'm
is to
kind of
destroy
hungry
enemy
myself.
armored vehicles out to 2,000 meters. The Javelin can be employed in a secondary role of providing fire support against point targets such as bunkers and crew served weapon positions. In addition, the Javelin CLU can be used alone as an aided vision device during reconnaissance. Javelin has thermals on it, so it is a secondary thermal spar. In addition, the Javelin CLU can be used alone. Hold on 1 second, there we go. When Bradley firing vehicles are part of a combined arms system, the Javelin becomes a secondary anti-armor weapon system. It supports the fires
I
of
don't know how the
tanks
fuck
and
he
tows, covers
gets him to sit
secondary
down
armored
like that.
avenues of approach, and provides observation posts with an anti-armor capability. The Javelin gunner should be able to engage up to 3 targets in 2 minutes, making him very effective against any armor threats. Over to grenades. Hand grenades,
Oh, I can cook like a
handheld,
motherfucker. All of
hand-armed,
us,
and hand-thrown weapon. The U.S.
me and all my
forces,
brothers,
both
grew up
lethal
around
and
and cook. My dad was
non-lethal
a
grenades, as well as
cook in
colours or
restaurants and
white
shit,
smoke
so
for screening movement,
it was kind of a
signaling and
must-learn
marking
thing.
positions and landing zones. The average soldier can throw a grenade 35 meters, therefore they are designed to have a small blast radius and are fused to have a 3 to 5 second delay so that they can deploy them safely. M67 fragmentation grenade. The M67 is a fragmentation type grenade consisting of a pre-fragmental steel body filled with 6.5 ounces of composite B explosive. It is intended to be used as an offensive capacity and has a killing rate of 50 meters and a
Master
fragmentation
Gunner for
dispersal
Bradley.
radius
Those
of
fucking things are
230
insane,
meters.
man.
The M84 flashbang stun grenade.
When they're used
M84
properly, I'll say. Like when
divisionary
we had them
device
here in the
used
unit,
for
they weren't
building and room
used
clearing
properly.
operations. It is
Yeah,
employed
when
when
they're used
non-combat
properly,
alignment
Jesus
to be
Christ,
expected,
Bradley is
and the assaulting element
damn
is
near
attempting
fucking
to achieve
unstoppable
surprise.
at some
When the
points.
device explodes in a room, it delivers a loud bang combined with a bright flash, which is designed to temporarily blind, deafen any occupants in the room, as well as disorientating
Yeah,
them for
he
as
runs
long
just
as
like
15
fucking
seconds.
randomly wandering around the goddamn base.
M83 white smoke grenade. The M83 white smoke grenade is used to screen
Yeah,
and
Months, I'm
obscure
gonna have
movements and
Lewis
hamper
get us a
enemy
new template
targets
done
and
here soon.
acquisition. The device
Fix
emits a
that
cloud
bug.
of white smoke for up to 30 seconds and should be used when cover and concealment are not available. The M18 coloured smoke grenades. M18 coloured smoke grenades are used to mark targets' positions.
Hey, it's
The colour of the
Leroux.
smoke grenades is indicated by the colour band on the body of the device. I will go into smoke denotation. So, when you're out there, green smoke denotes a friendly position or a possible landing zone. It means
Yeah,
that you will
great,
not
except
be
for the
engaging
maintenance.
anything
Well,
in
that
that
and having
area.
to ride in the back of
Red
them
smoke
fuckers.
is
They're not
used to
exactly
marking
big.
enemy positions such as
Those and
ice
strikers.
lava or an area that they're in. So we tend to use that for air assets to be able to range in. Blue smoke
Yeah,
indicates
changing
breaking
tracks,
chain
yeah.
of command, so if your squad leader goes down and you can no longer
Been
contact
lurking? How
HQ
dare you?
or there's been a serious issue, you'll smoke. Purple smoke is only ever carried by medics, and it is to mark a mass cas. Hand throwables are divided into 2 categories, lethal and non-lethal, which are placed into the hands to be thrown by pressing the corresponding key. The lethal category contains the M68 frag grenades and the flashbangs.
Hey,
While
Meister.
the non-lethal category contains smoke grenades, as well as various color,
Yeah, exactly.
like
Sardine
chem
can.
lights, IR strobe lights, and signaling devices.
No, they never
The
open the
action.
gates. Or we
Selecting a
don't
said
drive
grenade
out
will
there.
be thrown by pressing the corresponding key. Each key will cycle through the throwables, so 6 and 7 on your keyboard.
Yeah,
Will cycle
Stukas
through
knows
the
what it's like
non-lethal
being
and
in the
your
back of one
lethal
of them
grenades.
fucking cans.
Before you throw a lethal grenade, make sure the area that you're going to throw it in is clear of all friendly forces. It's quite self-explanatory, do not throw grenades near friendlies. Throw a grenade, such as a lethal grenade or a flashbang. For a frag grenade, you will yell frag out. For a flashbang, you will yell flash out.
Alright. So, to take over for Sergeant Myers here. When we are throwing munitions, right, any type of grenade, we always say what type it is and out. For what would seem like common sense, but you say out so that we know it is an outbound grenade. If you just yell frag, that's telling us that it is an incoming grenade. We all need to disperse. Okay? You say frag out, that lets us know that it is an outbound grenade. We need to stay behind cover. Okay? Everybody tracking on this?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right. So what we're going to do now is head out to the range. get you guys some time in throwing a couple grenades as well as using the rifles. All right, so all of you use your scroll wheel, stand up, and follow me outside.
Yes, sir.
Once you're outside, do not forget to put your cover back on. All right, you guys are going to file in here. We're going to grab a basic rifleman loadout. Once you have your rifleman loadout, come back outside.
Before heading out, take the magazines out of your weapons and those MBGs off your damn helmet.
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah, grenade day is always fun.
Negative. It's not letting me take out the saved loadout that I have from my first class.
Alright, that is something you have to fix later, not having you rebuild your loadout. I'm just gonna get you one, I'm gonna drop it to you.
But
Ball, go ahead.
Is there a box in there with radios and maps? Because I had to save this loadout without it because it wouldn't let me spawn it in.
Won't need a radio or anything for what we're about to do.
Copy that.
Throwing a live one wasn't that fun. That's because most people don't realize, like, grenades are not fucking what you see in Hollywood. Not this big fiery explosion and shit. Not to mention the fact that you're fucking terrified. Oh, you can keep firing out there. Hey, Ron, I don't give a shit. Fucking weapon ranges aren't closed just because guys are training. Alright, Follow me. All right, you guys are going to walk up to this first flag, the red flag. You're going to use your scroll wheel and select Weapons Range Complex. Do so now.
Copy.
Yeah, stowing your weapon is vanilla. You just hit the number 0 on your keyboard. All right, follow me over to the grenade range. All right, go ahead and form a line along these sandbags. All right, now as we already went over the procedure as far as throwing grenades and saying frag out and so on, we're still going to go over it again. All right, now, firstly, when you load into a server and get your gear, first thing you should do is hit the number 7, all right, to select your non-lethal grenades. That way, if you do somehow accidentally hit your grenade button, it's a hell of a lot better to throw a bad smoke than it is to throw a bad frag. All right, still going to get your ass chewed out, but it's not going to be nearly as bad as you throwing a frag grenade in the middle of formation. Now, I highly recommend when you get the choice, or when you get the time, I should say, to change your hotkey to throw a grenade from G to double tap G, or completely remove the normal throw hotkey and use the ace advanced throw, right, which we'll go over here in a second. Now, when you are going to be throwing a grenade, first and foremost, before you throw it, you're going to say frag out. Right? Once you say frag out, you're going to wait a couple seconds and then you will throw the grenade. This is giving everybody around you fair and ample time to get behind cover. Do not throw a grenade and whilst it's in the middle of the air, yell frag out. That defeats the fucking purpose. Right? So you yell frag out, wait a couple seconds, and then you throw the grenade. Okay? Now, for this, we are going to be using the advanced throw. Okay? So we're going to go right down the line. You guys are going to throw a frag grenade into this area. Now, when that person yells frag out, everyone is going to go prone and get behind cover. Does everybody understand me?
Yes, for Sergeant.
All right, so Oliver, you're going to go first. I want you to hold shift on your keyboard and then hit the number G as in golf. That should pull up the advanced throw and show you the arc of the grenade. Are you seeing that now?
Yes, for Sergeant. So
All right.
change actually for G on me.
All right. So you can do 2 different throw options with the advanced throw. You can do the normal throw, or if you scroll your mouse wheel forward, it will do the high throw, which is used to throw over walls and stuff like that. You will not be using that here. So if you've already scrolled, hit it again to go back to the normal throw. Now, once you are ready, go ahead and call your frag out and throw the grenade whenever you are ready.
Copy for Sergeant. Frag out.
Perfect. All right. Now, in case for some reason you don't see it, for the advanced throw, when the arch is up, you will just simply left click on your mouse to throw the grenade. Right, so Rainison, hit Shift G, pull up your advanced throw. When you're ready, throw your frag.
Sorry, Shift G didn't work.
Alright, I highly recommend you look into that. Alright, whoever's next to Rainus in there.
Pull.
Ball when you're
Frag
ready.
out. Frag out. Down. I don't know if you guys heard me the first time.
Give it a few more seconds in between when you call frag out and when you actually throw it. Alright, next one down.
Frag out.
That is not a frag. Make sure you hit the number 6 to go to your lethal grenades. Let's try it again.
Frag out. Frag out.
Alright, last one.
Frag out.
Alright. You guys didn't fuck it up too bad. Alright. Now, we're not going to sit here all goddamn day throwing grenades. I wish we had the time. Unfortunately, we do not. Alright, does anybody have any questions as to how to throw a grenade?
Negative for Sergeant.
Negative.
Alright, follow me.
Booker, press W and S.
And also Persia, thank you for subscribing, bud. You now have a cool little emote you can use. Or whatever the fuck it is they want to call it. I'm 160p, still having loading issues. I'm sorry, Ty, I wish there was something I could do for you, bud. Alright, stand by right here. Damn it, these fucking arsenal things still aren't working.
There you go.
No, Persia, we did not get approved for artillery. Alright, follow me up here onto the platform. Alright. And we did not remind you guys to grab vectors, so stand by. Alright. A set of boxes under the cargo nets. Everybody step back there. Open up the inventory and grab a set of vectors.
Already have some for Sergeant.
Outstanding. Damn it, stand by. Alright, there should be some in there now. Alright, everybody get up here online. And press B as in Bravo to pull out your vector. Now if you right click, you will start looking through your vector. Vector will provide you with a couple different pieces of information. Now if you look at an object and hold down R as in Romeo, we'll see a red circle pop up in the center of that crosshair. Once that red circle pops up, if you let go of Romeo, you will then see the range to that target pop up. Does everybody see a range popping up after they let go of Romeo?
Affirm,
Yes,
Yes,
First
First
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
Alright. Now, alternatively, if you hold tab on a target, it will give you the current bearing. Everybody see the bearing pop up on the target?
Affirm, First Sergeant.
Affirmative, First Sergeant.
Alright. Now, if you double tap tab, sometimes it can be kind of finicky, you gotta do it a couple times. It will give you the bearing as well as the elevation of the target. Right? Now, as I said, it can be kind of finicky. It does not work every single time. Sometimes you have to hit it a couple times or double hit it and then hold it, so on and so forth. But that's not necessarily super important at this time. Right? The most important thing is the range and the bearing. Right? So Romeo and tab. Alternatively, don't want to use the vector to get your bearing. You can hold K as in kilo, and it'll pull up your compass. In addition to that, you can also hit H as in hotel and pull up your micro dagger, which will also give you the bearing of a target. Now this all comes into play for what we are about to do next, which is firing the AT4s that are on your backs. Now when you're firing an AT4, the most important thing is firstly to get information on your target. Okay, that information is going to come in the form of what we call the 3Ds, distance, direction, description. Right, memorize that, distance, direction, description. If you have a hard time remembering that, just think of triple D. All right, Guy Fieri, guy with the fucking pineapple on his head, triple D, distance, direction, description. Okay. Those are the three pieces of information you need to engage any target on the battlefield. This is especially important when it comes to armor, which is what the AT4 is used for. Now, as far as exactly what pieces of armor and so on the AT4 can engage, we'll go over that more on day 3. But for now, when engaging a piece of armor, every rifleman, which is who carries the AT4, automatically has a buddy that is with him at all times, right? His battle buddy, which by default is the grenadier. Now, if you get a report of armor in the area and you are dispatched to eliminate it, while the rifleman is prepping the AT, the grenadier is using his vectors to get eyes on that armor and start providing those 3 key pieces of information. Once he gets eyes on, he can then relay that information to the rifleman. So, for example, if we are going to engage, even though it's not a piece of armor, we're going to engage that truck, all right? As the spotter in this situation, I would call out GAZ bearing 137 degrees, range 29 or 6 meters. All right. So now they have the 3 pieces of information. They have the distance, 296 meters. They have the bearing, 137 degrees. They have the description, GAZ. or simply truck, troop transport, something along those lines. It does not need to be exact. So now the rifleman has the 3 pieces of information he needs to engage that target. So if I myself as a rifleman, I am now going to scan around the bearing of 137, look about 300 meters out there, and see, oh, okay, there's the GAZ. I have eyes on. Now, at this point, I would already have the AT4 prepped, but we'll go over those steps now, right? So in order to prep the AT4, you would pull it off your back, and then you would hit the R key as in Romeo, all right? This preps the weapon, releases the trigger, and opens the sight. Now, once the weapon is prepped, you now need to range it for your target. You range it just like any other weapon with page up and page down. Now the weapon was called, and I forgot the range.
296 for sergeant.
There we go. So 296 meters, all right? So just short of 300 meters. Now the AT4 ranges in increments of 50 meters. So best bet is to set it to 300 meters and aim just a cunt hair low, okay? Now I, as a rifleman, now have eyes on, my weapon is prepped, my weapon is ranged. So now I am ready to fire. However, that does not mean you are going to send a rocket downrange yet. There are still a couple steps you need to go through. Right, so you have eyes on, your weapon is prepped, weapon is ranged. Now the next step you need to go to is you need to clear your backblast, right? Because there's about to be a rocket flying out of this tube. In order for the rocket to fly out of the tube, all that gas has to go somewhere. It's going to go directly out of the back of the tube. Now, if you guys look at the tube currently on my shoulder, you can see the cone on the back of it. That gives you an idea of where that backblast is going to be going. Right, so me as a rifleman, first thing I'm going to do once I am ready to fire is call clear backblast. Right. Say that again, clear backblast. I am not asking a question. It is a command. It is not a fucking request. Right, so you do not say, is my backblast clear? No, you say clear backblast. That tells everybody to get the fuck out from behind that tube. Right, at which point your spotter, which generally, as I said, by default is going to be your grenadier, will give you one of 2 commands, either backblast clear or backblast not clear. Now, if he says backblast not clear because there is still someone standing behind you, you wait. Give them a few seconds to get out of the way. You will then again say clear backblast. All right? Then your spotter will let you know if you're clear or not. Now, the second time, this is kind of trivial. Because if after the second time you call clear backblast, if they have not moved, you are going to fire anyways. If that piece of armor is engaging friendlies, it is a hell of a lot more important to hit that piece of armor than a guy getting knocked over by a little bit of backblast. So I don't care if it's me, myself, standing behind that fucking tube. If you call clear backblast twice and I don't move, you fire that fucking rocket. Does everybody understand?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right. Now, in order to be out of the backblast, you generally want to be shoulder to shoulder or slightly ahead of the person firing. You do not want to be anywhere in the 180 behind the person firing that rocket. I'm going to take a quick step back here. All right. Now, once your backblast is called clear, at that point you are cleared to fire. That does not, however, mean to just instantly hit the trigger. Next step you're going to go through is to yell rocket. Once you yell rocket, wait a few seconds and then hit the trigger. All right, so it's like throwing a grenade. Instead of yelling frag out and waiting a few seconds, you yell rocket. Wait a few seconds and then send the round downrange. Now, this is not only to notify the guys around you that you're firing, but it's also to notify anybody else in the area with AT that you have a rocket going downrange, so that if they're about ready to fire at the same time, they do not fire a rocket at the same target and waste that rocket. Right? They can have a follow-up shot in case you miss, but you don't want to waste multiple sticks of AT on something that can be taken out with a single. All right, everybody tracking?
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, give you an example. All right, we will engage that gas that was called out earlier. So, we'll call backblast clear. Or sorry, clear backblast.
Back was clear.
Roger. Rocket. And we went high.
Over the top.
All right, so now in that situation, that's where the follow-up rocket would come. Now I've used the AT4, right? The AT4 is not reloadable. Okay, we cannot put another rocket into this. So now this is useless. So once you fire the AT4, open your inventory, drag it over, and drop it on the ground. All right, no longer have a use for it. Do not, at any point in time, ever walk around with an empty tube on your back. All right. One, it's just weight added to you that you don't need to carry around. Two, if we're getting engaged by armor and say I come running up to you and need somebody to engage that armor with AT, you have an empty tube on your back, I'm going to be pretty fucking pissed off that I just grabbed you to engage AT and you tell me, oh, well, it's empty. All right, so now I have to go find somebody else that does not have their head firmly shoved up their ass to engage that piece of armor. Private Paul, comment.
Yes, sir, Sergeant. I believe if you just press 1 to bring out your rifle again, it automatically drops the AT4 tube.
That depends on scripting. Private Oliver.
It's actually, for this to work, it's actually an option in the RHS section, which is exactly on the left side through disposable. If you enable that option, every time you're going to switch back to your main weapon, if your AT4 is used, it's going to throw it down on the ground automatically.
Again, it depends on scripting. Our server
Got it.
settings override everything else.
Got it.
All right. Any other questions and or comments?
Negative for Sergeant.
Negative for Sergeant.
All right. What you guys are going to do now, Booker, Perkinson, and Paul, you guys are going to take your happy asses over to that next platform and take turns firing your AT4s. One person is going to spot, one person is going to fire the AT4 until all three of you have fired. Is that clear?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
Move. Oliver and Rainison, you two are going to go over to that platform to your left. Do the exact same thing. Move.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Yes, for Sergeant.
Ah, peace.
Can observe those guys.
And yes, normally we use the CS variant of the AT4. The arsenal that I dropped over there just hasn't been updated yet. Yeah, the pointing is really nice.
You guys have the radio, I'd suggest putting earplugs in. Yep. Follow the procedure.
Backblast. Clear black backblast.
Clear.
Rocket.
Nice shooting. I gotta go see is that better than the one down there, the first Sergeant miss?
I will be right back, guys.
Yeah, sure thing.
That's 250 meters.
Shotgun 250 meters. Your back glass.
5 less clear.
Rocket.
At least hit.
Yeah, he's right. Even though I enable the option, it does not throw it down on the ground.
Yeah.
Have you ever been part of another unit before?
Yeah, like a year ago or something.
Oh, okay.
Where are you from?
Alright, you guys
I'm from Canada.
fire and follow me.
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
Do not say repeat.
Stand right here.
Clear back glass. Rocket.
Yeah, there was definitely a fucking shortage of guys to shoot at people when fucking Cope went through last week.
Somebody get him a target.
Bearing 129. 599.
Yeah, I know, I swear the wildlife is here simply to annoy us.
Alright, drop to 2 and down the ramp. You guys are already waiting.
Alright, follow me. Alright, follow me over to the rifle range. Alright, what we're going to go over now is some basic rates of fire and engagement tactics. Alright, first thing we're going to go over is with the M4, as the M4 has select fire capability. Now, first rate of fire we're going to go over is a sustained rate of fire. A sustained rate of fire consists of a single round every 2 to 3 seconds. This is generally used for a target that is beyond 200 meters. Right? So a sustained rate of fire, like I said, a round every 2 to 3 seconds. To give you an example of what that would sound like, I will now demonstrate it. All right, so that is an example of a sustained rate of fire, again used on targets beyond 200 meters. Now, the second rate of fire is rapid rate of fire. A rapid rate of fire is used for targets inside of 200 meters. It is essentially doubling the rate of fire of sustained. Okay, so it's going to be 2 rounds every 2 to 3 seconds. Okay, this is generally where something like a double tap is going to come into play. So it would sound something like this. Now, lastly, we have cyclic rate of fire, used for anything inside of 50 meters. A cyclic rate of fire is when you get to hit the fun switch. Fun switch being the switch that moves you from semi-automatic to fully automatic. Now, cyclic rate of fire does not mean that you just simply hold down the trigger and hope for the best. All right. One, it is a gross waste of ammunition. Two, it is incredibly fucking accurate. So, in a cyclic rate of fire with the M4, you are going to fire in a 3 to 5 round burst on close targets. So it would sound something like this. And that's it. Empty. So as you can see, with a cyclic rate of fire, you're going to rip through your magazine pretty damn quickly. All right. Anybody have any questions on the rates of fire for the M4?
Negative,
Negative,
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
All right. Outstanding. Stand by for one moment. All right. So now we will go over some rates of fire with the saw. So for the sustained rate of fire for the saw, again, anything beyond 200 meters. That is where that 3 to 5 round burst is going to come into play. Now, a simple way to achieve that 3 to 5 round burst is to memorize a phrase. That phrase being die, motherfucker, die. You say that phrase in your head when you hit the trigger and hold it down. Let go of it when you finish the phrase. That'll generally give you a 3 to 5 round burst. Say it in the same cadence. Die, motherfucker, die. That'll give you that 3 to 5 round burst. So to give you an example of how it sounds. Right, that is a sustained rate of fire for the saw. Now, just like with the M4, to move to a rapid rate of fire, you essentially double it. So instead of 3 to 5 rounds, you go to 5 to 10 rounds. All right, so just say the phrase twice. And again, rapid rate of fire, anything inside of 200 meters. So it would sound something like this. Now, a cyclic rate of fire for the machine guns, again, does not simply mean you hold down the trigger, right? You're just, again, doubling the rate of fire. So instead of 5 to 10 rounds, you're going to be going 10 to 15, or 10 to 15 rounds, all right? Now, cyclic with something like a saw or a 240 is A, going to rip through a lot of ammo, but B, it is going to cause a fuck ton of carnage. All right, if something is inside of 50 meters and you have a saw, you are going to lay waste to just about anything unless it has the drop on you. All right, the machine guns are hands down the best close quarters weapon that we have. All right, we don't really have the issue of a large weapon system getting hung up necessarily on doors or stuff like that. It does, but that's more so Arma game mechanics than it is the actual weapon system itself. Which is why a lot of the times when you see guys clearing buildings, guy with a saw will take point quite often because he can sweep a fucking room with that saw a hell of a lot better than what anybody can with an M4. So you're not going to see a saw gunner clearing a building with a fucking Beretta. All right, that's just retarded. You have the greatest close quarters weapon system you could possibly have. All right, so a cyclic rate of fire, again, anything inside of 50 meters for a saw is going to sound like this. All right, so there's very, very little that is going to stand up to a rate of fire like that. Now, when you take into account that there are 10 men in a squad, counting the squad leader and the squad medic, 8 of those are M4s, 2 of them are carrying saws. Just with a sustained rate of fire, all right, so a single round every 2 to 3 seconds from each one of those M4s, and 3 to 5 rounds from the saw every couple seconds. That is a lot of lead that a single squad can send downrange, just themselves. All right, and we have 3 rifle squads per platoon. So if you have an entire platoon lined up in a skirmish line, and they all start engaging towards the same target, that target is not going to last very long at all. And that's not even taking into account the weapons squad, which has 2 more machine guns and 8 more rifles. Right? So do not get too fucking gung-ho about slinging rounds downrange. All right? If you have multiple guys engaging the same target, you do not need to rip through your fucking ammo like your name is John Rambo. Right? It is a waste. So keep those rates of fire in mind and keep the amount of ammo that you're currently carrying in mind. All right. At maximum, we go out in the field with 13 magazines. All right. I have only ever completely ran out of ammunition once. One time in almost 3 years of doing this, I've ran out of ammo. Right. Just keep ammo conservation in mind and understand that it is never a fucking guarantee that we're going to get resupplied. All right, everybody tracking?
Affirm for Sergeant.
Affirm for Sergeant.
All right. So what you guys are going to do now is I'm going to give you 10 minutes or so. Each one of you guys are going to move to a shooting bay and practice these rates of fire. That small Connex box directly behind you guys has the different rifles that we use. All right. At any point in time, should you wish, you are welcome to step back to that box and grab one of the different rifles or machine guns that we use and practice with that as well. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Negative for Sergeant.
Negative for Sergeant.
All right. Everybody take a different bay, grab a different rifle if you wish. Range is hot. You are clear to engage whenever the fuck you are ready.
I'll stay here. Fuck it.
Yeah, I think we've gotten resupplied a couple of times. I mean, I couldn't tell you the exact operation, but we've gotten resupplied a couple times. And yes, Cope, I did send a message to the other brewers, so that should be getting taken care of here probably tonight or possibly tomorrow. I'm not sure what he's got going on. Yeah, Persia would know. He's part of TAC P. Oh no, we don't need to think about the pilots sitting back at base doing nothing. The pilots need to think about what the fuck they're going to be doing as a support role for an infantry unit before they take that MOS. They don't want to sit there and play with their dicks and fucking have a circle jerk, then they shouldn't be in a fucking pilot. Oh, I didn't wreck at the airfield, Goat. That was Avery flying the helicopter. I don't ever use any of the air assets because I can't fly for dick. So notice everybody goes for a fucking saw. What's your question, Booker?
Sorry for a second. I can't hear you. How do you put plugs in? So I'm fucking ringing like a motherfucker.
use your Ace Interact. Should be your Windows key by default. Or sorry, your control Windows key by default. And it should be under equipment. You able to get it? Alright, ceasefire. Ceasefire, ceasefire. Booker, can you hear me now? Nope, he's completely
Yes,
deaf.
Sergeant.
Alright.
I can hear you enough.
Use your Ace Interact, which by default should be holding Control and Windows key. Up at the top, you should see a thing that says Equipment. Are you seeing that?
Affirmative. Sorry,
All right.
Sergeant. I got it. Thank you very much.
Alright. Alright, everybody go ahead and rally down here. Put in condition for your weapons if you have not already. Alright. So, does everyone feel like they have a general grasp on the different weapon systems that we use here as far as the rifles and the machine guns?
Affirmative for Sergeant.
Affirmative for Sergeant.
Alright. Fortunately, we do not have time to sit here all goddamn day at the range. I wish we did, but we don't. Right. That being said, it's now 15:30 hours. We've been at it for a while now. I know we lost quite a bit of time at the start here. But that being said, we will be rolling over formations to tomorrow. We'll cover that at the start of the day tomorrow, then carry on with the rest of the agenda for tomorrow. So this is going to be it for today. I'm not going to keep you guys in here for 3 hours pounding the shit into your brain. Everybody needs a break eventually. So, what will happen from here? Tomorrow, we will pick up, as I said, with formations, where we're leaving off today, and we'll go on with the rest of the scheduled curriculum, if you will. We'll be in here, same bat time, same bat channel. Right? Make sure you guys are on time. If you do not know what it means to be on time in the Army, it means you are 15 minutes early. If you are here on the hour, you are fucking late. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Affirmative for Sergeant.
Alright. So, make sure you're here on time tomorrow. Make sure you are ready to take more notes. Tomorrow is a big day. You will have a lot of information thrown at you, and it is vital information, right? It will be even harder come tomorrow. It will be your first opportunity for a live fire exercise. You will be engaging targets. They will be engaging you. Be your first chance to really know what it's like to be in a firefight with us. You will get overwhelmed. You will get stressed. Okay? Again, do not take any critiques we have personally. Take it as an opportunity to improve yourself, not only as a fire team member, but as a potential leader at some point in time. Right? Now, between today and tomorrow, should you have any questions, concerns, so on, you bring them to me. I am now your direct chain of command until you graduate OSUT. If for some reason I am not available, you will then go to Sergeant Myers. Me not being in TeamSpeak does not mean I am not available. If I am not in TeamSpeak, then you will send me a message on the forums. If I do not respond to that message within 48 hours, you can then contact Sergeant Myers. Does everybody understand this?
Yes, affirmative for Sergeant.
Affirmative for Sergeant.
All right. So, as you should have been made aware in your recruit training, whilst you are in the training pipeline, there are some things you can and cannot do. As far as things you cannot do, you are not allowed to take part in the large-scale operations going on this weekend. So Task Force Charlie's operation tonight and Task Force Bravo's operation tomorrow, you will not take part in. You are welcome to watch any of the streams. There are a lot of guys here in the unit that stream, make videos, so on and so forth. I highly recommend you do so. It is a good learning opportunity. What you are allowed to do, you are allowed to fill in for any trainings that are taking place. So whether that be squad trainings or platoon trainings, you are allowed to fill in for those. Now, how you fill in for those is fairly simple. Sit your happy ass in TeamSpeak, and when somebody is looking for fill-ins, you will see a call in global chat that so-and-so needs X number of fill-ins for such and such. All right, you are only allowed to fill in as 11 Bravos. Now, I do not have every single squad's training schedule sitting here in front of my face, so I am not going to tell you who trains when. Most of the squads have their training times in their channel description in TeamSpeak, so you can take a look at that. That being said, Saturday isn't quite as big a day for training. Tomorrow, after we get out of class, there are quite a lot of squads that train on Sunday. So after we get out of class tomorrow, I highly recommend you guys fill in for those. If you see any of them tonight, again, highly recommend you do so. It is a chance to learn more. Now, as for filling in and anything else, like I said, the operations you can't fill in for, but you can take part in any fun missions that the guys may have scheduled between now and when you finish your OSUT. That being said, if you are not comfortable adding or removing extra mods for fun missions, I do not recommend you take part, as most fun missions require you to download extra mods. But if you download extra mods and forget to turn that shit off and go to load in here for OSUT, I will kick you right back off of the server until you unfuck your mods. Does everybody understand this?
Affirmative for Sergeant.
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right. Anybody have any questions at this point?
Negative for Sergeant.
Negative for Sergeant.
Negative for Sergeant.
All right. In that case, you guys are done. You are all dismissed. Clear to disconnect from the server and disconnect from TeamSpeak. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday afternoon.
You for Sergeant.
UT
You
for
do for
Sergeant.
Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. That is going to be it for OSUT Day 1. We'll be back live here in a few hours for Task Force Charlie's operation, where I will be the Task Force Commander. And hopefully you guys will be able to join me for that. And I will see you all later.